Okay, last one, and then we play
January 1807. French Emperor Napoleon Bonaparte,
oh, now he goes to Russia.
of Ulm,
not good, not good.
Austerlitz and Jena, was near the height of his powers.
When the AFC, well, when the new
His
FIFA
Grande
comes out,
Armée
dumb
had swept
idiot.
all before it. Now, in the depths of a bitter Polish winter, he sought the final victory that would make him master of Europe. His target, the Russians, supported by the remains of the Prussian army.
Eylau is a nightmare? I have no idea. That's why I like these videos. I never heard of this. I have no idea what this is.
But
I
many
know
months
nothing.
of campaigning had exhausted even his toughest veterans. Most had not seen France in years, and the war in Poland seemed to offer only freezing mud, hunger, and a stubborn enemy who did not know when he was beaten.
All these people, Hitler and Napoleon, they never know that you have to stop in certain terrains. Egypt, winter, just fucking leave.
The Russians had fought courageously and thwarted Napoleon's first attempt to outmaneuver their army. But another opportunity would soon emerge. Command of the Russian army had recently passed to General Levin August von Bennigsen. Despite his German name and Hanoverian roots, he was a veteran of 34 years' service with the Imperial Russian Army. On the 27th of January, with 77,000 Russians and 13,000 Prussians, Bennigsen launched a surprise winter offensive, targeting Marshal Ney's exposed 6th Corps. But Ney escaped, and Bernadotte's 1st Corps fought a successful rearguard action at Moringen. Now Napoleon would turn the tables on Bennigsen. As soon as he'd learned of the Russian advance.
For years, they did nothing else. Napoleon, they just march, they fight, they kill. It's just endless war, man.
He'd begun planning.
You think they probably did not have front vacations? Like they can go home and fuck their wives for two weeks? They probably didn't have that.
Planning a grand encirclement of the enemy.
They were probably just allowed to write letters and shit.
Suddenly, it was the Russians who were exposed. But Bennigsen got wind of Napoleon's trap just in time and began a hurried withdrawal. 5 days of relentless marching followed, with Marshal Murat.
That's why by 45 Napoleon's health was
nipping
cooked.
at the Russians' heels all the way.
Lots of rapes going on. There were probably a lot of raping. I don't know what the historical accounts is on that, and it's probably like, oh, we're disciplined soldiers, no rapes allowed. Oh, dude. Being a woman during this time, probably not very nice.
But despite a series of furious assaults on their rear guard, ably commanded by Prince Bagration, the French could not break through.
I have a weird question. Explain the world to me, because I'm uneducated. We see that back then, this was all Prussia and Russia and stuff. How did and where was Polish culture and Polish people? Because this was all Prussia and German, Russian and stuff. Poland had no state. Were Poles a minority in that zone for forever, and then one day they got their own state? You will see in this video. They were oppressed. They will explain in the video. Okay.
The pursuit continued.
Poland was a thing earlier. Polish Lithuania and stuff. Okay. They split it up and then they were just oppressed. Okay. Poland has a pretty big comeback, man. They have a lot of territory nowadays. Poland.
As temperatures plummeted. To the north, Ney shadowed Lestocq's Prussian Corps, while Soult's 4th Corps followed the Russian rearguard to the small East Prussian town of Eylau.
Eylau. They spoke German there back in the day, man. Boah, look at that.
On the afternoon of the 7th of February, Marshal Soult's troops advanced up the icy road to Eylau.
That looks like it could be a cool map in a video game, like Foy. That looks like a cool map.
They found it held by General Barclay de Tolly's Russian division, entrenched along a line of fences, ditches, and barricades. Just before dusk, confused combat began around the town's cemetery. more and more troops were sucked into the bitter fighting.
These pictures are so cool, man. I'm gonna do something weird. Everyone in chat sent me Google images of really cool Napoleonic era oil paintings in high resolution.
The French took the cemetery with a bayonet charge, but then had to hold it against a determined Russian counterattack, led by Barclay himself, who was seriously wounded by grape shot. Vicious street fighting continued well
That's being
into
a Russian in
the
the city. You're like, why are you not helping me, people?
But the French ultimately prevailed, with the loss of 4,000 casualties on each side.
The Polish anthem mentions Napoleon because he liberated and created the Duchy of Warsaw. This is why Napoleon army had Polish Uhlans and Lancers. Here, what's the best painting of the Napoleonic era? Oh shit, wait. Oh my god, this is cool. Man, that we don't make paintings like this anymore? What is that? That looks so cool. Dude, if I was Trump or something, I would commission some of this shit. Wow. They're so cool. Why do we not make this anymore?
Soldiers and officers alike were astonished by the savagery of the engagement. As darkness fell, temperatures dropped dramatically.
That looks so sick, dude.
Many of the wounded froze to death where they had fallen. The French ransacked Eylau for food and firewood. Many Russian soldiers
The Strait of
had to
Hormuz is
sleep
closed, so
in
you can't do
open
any more oil
fields,
paintings.
wrapped only in their greatcoats, forbidden
Here's
to light
Prussians
fire.
attacking my city.
That night, Napoleon's greatest concern was that the Russians would slip away under cover of darkness, robbing him of the decisive battle he craved.
And then all these years,
He
Napoleon
not
never
have
got
worried.
assassinated, never got
Bennigsen
a
was
ricochet
done
in his
running.
ass.
Here, at Eylau, the Russians would make their stand.
Well, he was a small target. It was a vast hurricane of death that seemed to smash and erase from the face of the earth everything in its path. Honestly, they say this about every battle. Every battle, thousands of people are fucking dying, and now we're acting like this is worse.
Before dawn, Napoleon was on Eylau's cemetery knoll, trying to make out the Russian lines through his telescope. He was surprised by what he saw. 67,000 Russians packed into two great lines along a 3-mile front, with well-defended villages anchoring both flanks.
It's always blowing my mind that 200 years ago, this was all German. German-speaking, Prussian culture. How much land Germany lost, huh? Because of these fucking idiots, bro.
Open ground lay between the two armies, providing a clear field of fire for Bennigsen's 400 guns, a huge amount of artillery for an army of the age. Napoleon had Soult and Augereau's depleted corps, plus the Imperial Guard and Murat's reserve cavalry, just 45,000 men and 137 guns. But Napoleon was expecting Davout's Third Corps, 15,000 men, to arrive at any moment, in perfect position to fall on the Russian flank. At dawn, as French troops were still getting into position, hundreds of Russian guns opened a massive bombardment. In Eylau, there was chaos, as round shot crashed through buildings and tore through men.
This period had to be very mentally taxing for soldiers. I think all war is probably mentally taxing. I don't know what war feels like. We probably don't have many reports of mental health from back then. But I will think these people are probably very fucked up. Totally, right? I will think so. I will think so. The question is, what makes the mental strain worse on a soldier? What is a World War II frontline worse, right? How do you weight suffering? What is it, right? How do you rate that? Did this guy suffer less than a German in Stalingrad? I don't know, man.
French
probably all
guns
sucks.
soon answered the Russians in kind. It was the largest combined artillery bombardment the world had yet seen. It
Holy
lasted
moly.
nearly 3 hours. While Bennigsen had quantity, French crews were more experienced, and against the densely packed Russian lines...
This is actually a real painting of this battle. Yeah. Reminds me of Foy, World War II.
They couldn't miss. Meanwhile, Davout's 2 leading divisions arrived on the battlefield, dangerously placed on the Russian left flank. But before they could attack, Prince Golitsyn struck first with his cavalry brigade. Davout's veterans threw back the horsemen with disciplined fire. Golitsyn's charge, however, bought time for General Bagavout to reorganize his defensive line to face the new threat. When the Iron Marshal attacked around 8 AM, he found the enemy entrenched on a ridge with formidable artillery support. Davout's lead division was mauled, suffering 1,500 casualties as it was thrown back.
What, they were mauled?
This check on Davout alarmed Napoleon. He feared the Russians might withdraw before his trap could close. It was, he decided,
Mauled.
the battle's critical moment. Orders flew out to Marshal Augereau's 7th Corps and General Saint-Hilaire's division. They were to launch a frontal attack against the enemy. At all costs,
Just
the
go
Russians'
straight at them,
escape
guys.
must be prevented.
That must have been fun. And all of this for what, right? I'm gonna sound like a lip-tart again, but for what? For the ego of one guy who wants to make history. And for them following in this. Like, for what, right? You're not really fighting for anything other than glory. Which I guess
The
back then was worth a lot,
Marshal
still nowadays
Augereau
maybe.
had been with Napoleon since his first command
boredom.
in Italy and the brilliant campaign of '96.
You're so
But
gay and
he
boring.
was deeply
Look at your
unwell
nickname.
that morning. At 10 AM, strapped to his horse, he led forward the 12,000 troops of 7th Corps. Just
Well, they
as
now
heavy
have their own YouTube videos, true. It actually kind of worked. We now
snow
talk about
began
them
to
20 years
fall.
later. True.
With visibility down to a few feet, Augereau's divisions drifted off course, straight into the murderous artillery duel. French and Russian cannonballs tore through their ranks. Augereau's men pushed on doggedly, but as they neared the Russian line, the blizzard...
How do you survive that? Because of no sight? Dude, you should just die here.
suddenly lifted. One division found itself facing 70 Russian guns at a range of just 30 yards. Seconds later, its forward ranks were obliterated by
Ow.
Russian canister.
Ah.
Another French division broke through the enemy line, only to be surrounded on 3 sides by Russian bayonets and
But let me guess, he somehow still fucking wins.
annihilated. Augereau's horse was killed
Fuck
under
that.
him, leaving him badly injured.
Sometimes I feel a bit like a director. I could probably make great Hollywood movies. Totally me, This will be... Imagine you make... You know, Nothing New on the Western Front, the German movie, which is about the horrors of war. This battle will be perfect to make like a movie scene about that. Like a Hollywood-esque scene of... To battle, huzzah, for the Emperor! And then you show the nightmare of war in this battle. That's the battle I will show in a Hollywood movie. To show how it was not
As
glorious.
the survivors of his
It was
corps
people shitting
stumbled
themselves and
back the way
dying.
they'd come, Russian cavalry and infantry surged forward. Units were overrun. Entire regiments swallowed up.
Jesus Christ.
Order and discipline collapsed. One of the few units to maintain order was the 14th Infantry, nicknamed the Brave for its heroic role at Rivoli 10 years before. But now they were outnumbered and surrounded. The regiment resisted bravely, but was cut to pieces, suffering 75% casualties and the loss of its Eagle standard. In the space of just 30 minutes, the Russians inflicted 5,000 casualties on Augereau's 7th Corps. Effectively,
Napoleon's fault. Why would you run in like that? Maybe he's getting a bit old, huh?
It was one of the worst battlefield disasters of the Napoleonic Wars. For the French, Eylau was no longer a fight for victory, but a struggle for survival.
This place is haunted now?
From Eylau's cemetery knoll, Napoleon watched the catastrophe engulfing Augereau's corps. He knew he must stabilize the situation immediately and buy time to reorganize his center and for Davout's corps to arrive in force. So the Emperor turned to Murat and his large cavalry reserve. It was a desperate gamble. The horses were tired and suffering from the
If this is the 10th time Napoleon pulls a card out of his ass and wins, I'm fucking done with this.
They'd be outnumbered.
I'm starting to believe in God a little bit. What is this plot armor? He can't keep getting away with it, man. What the fuck?
But the flamboyant, apparently fearless Marshal Murat was undaunted. He assembled 40 squadrons of cavalry.
Holy shit, that's the legit ride of the Rohirrim, bro.
And led them forward.
It's like a movie.
So
dude.
began one of the legendary cavalry.
Ridley Scott should have just done basic history. He would have a legendary movie
of the Napoleonic Wars. Unable to move much faster than a walk due to the terrible conditions, Murat's cavalry nevertheless presented a formidable wall of men, horses and steel.
Fuck off.
General Grouchy's dragoons
Thank you,
in the
Nicholas.
lead drove back the advancing Russians. D'Hautpoul's steel-clad cuirassiers then thundered forward on their giant horses.
Fuck off.
Finding a gap between two Russian divisions, they used it to pry open the enemy line. With seemingly unstoppable
being part
momentum,
of that, yeah, well, that must
the
feel like,
riders
dude.
surged forward.
Fuck off.
But it could not last.
Yeah, come on.
As they neared Bennigsen's headquarters, a Russian battery blasted the French horsemen with canister.
Dude, make that into a movie, man. Holy
D'Hautpoul
shit.
himself was mortally wounded. French momentum was lost. As the Russian counterattack began, Murat ordered his squadrons to regroup and pull back. He almost didn't make it. The Russian 4th Division had moved to block his escape. Seeing this, Napoleon ordered Marshal Bessières.
This battle is the first time Napoleon feels a bit noobish. He's just like, charge, we're going straight at him, guys.
To lead forward the Guard cavalry. These were 2,000 of the finest cavalry in Europe. And to cheers of Vive l'Empereur, they advanced into the whirling
He has a
mass
second
of
Rohan
shot
charge,
and
bro. This
snow.
guy has 2 Rohan charges.
When Colonel Lepic saw his men ducking, he called out, "Heads up, by God! Those are bullets, not turds." Chasseurs of the Guard charged down the first Russian infantry square they met, scattered the enemy's gunners, and cut out a path for Murat's.
Could you imagine that Peter Jackson finishes all his Lord of the Rings stuff and he goes into a big Napoleon thing? Peter Jackson, I think he will be the man to make
retreating squadrons.
Great things here, man.
The French charge at Eylau would go down as one of the boldest, most desperate military maneuvers of the age. The losses were terrible in men and horses, but it succeeded in its mission. The Russian advance had been stopped in its tracks, and the initiative had swung back to Napoleon. Marshal Davout's 3rd Corps, the famed heroes of Auerstedt 4 months before, had now arrived in sufficient force to launch a full-scale assault. Anticipating this, Bagavout withdrew to a new defensive line on the Kriegerberge, a dominating height perfect for artillery. 2 hours of chaotic fighting followed, with every French advance challenged by a fierce
so many corpses
Russian
on the ground, bro.
But supported by dragoons and Saint-Hilaire's division, 3rd Corps slowly ground down the enemy. Bennigsen was forced to send in his last reserve, Kaminsky's 14th Division. Supported by cavalry, it drove the French from Klein-Sausgarten and across the fields
engineer,
beyond,
man. Thank you, dude.
until its own advance was checked by French artillery. When Davout resumed his attack at 3 p.m, the Russian line buckled. The Kriegerberge was taken. So too Bennigsen's headquarters at Auklappen.
They're cheating, and all of a sudden this line is breaking. Why? You have a totally... This is like when I make 20 divisions in HOI4 and 2 Indian paratroopers beat me over river, and I'm just like, what? Dude, what?
Bennigsen scraped together
like
enough units to
codes.
improvise a new defensive line. But French guns, hauled up to the Kriegerberge, opened up a devastating fire. The French pressure was irresistible. The Russian flank would surely collapse at any moment, handing Napoleon the decisive victory he so desperately sought. All that was required was one final push.
Uh-oh. I think the whole time, as I'm watching these videos, the big power of Napoleon is he never faces them all at once. He always isolates enemies and then kills them one-on-one. If Prussia would have been together with the Russians, right? GG.
Early that morning, Bennigsen had sent urgent orders to Prussian General
Divide and
Anton
conquer.
von Lestock to join the main army with his corps as quickly as possible.
Anton von Lestock. The hell's that name?
Although nearly 70, Lestock was still as energetic as he'd been serving under Frederick the Great, and was assisted by a highly capable chief of staff, Colonel Gerhard von Scharnhorst. Lestock's corps, 9,000 men.
1.1k viewers on 2 p.m. on a Monday. This is the future of this channel. Wenn du möchtest, kann ich dir dabei helfen. Unser Kommandeur ist Geschichtslehrer in Leipzig, von dem kannst du viel erfahren. Unser Kommandeur? Was für ein Kommandeur? Was redest du? Was? Thank you, Dragon Soul. Thank you.
Was 8 miles northwest of Eylau, closely watched by Marshal Ney's 6th Corps. His orders were to prevent the Prussians linking up with the Russians at all costs. But by force-marching his troops along frozen, hilly country roads, Lestock was able to bypass Ney's blocking force.
Oh shit.
To Bennigsen's joy, by early afternoon, the Prussians had reached Schmödeten. With his left flank crumbling, there was no time to lose.
These are fresh Prussians. They need to win.
Lestock's Prussians
Ruf mich an. They're never ready.
Forward. By now, Davout's men had
So before we watch this, if the fresh Prussians don't fucking crush this right now, then fuck
been
this.
marching and fighting for many hours and were utterly spent. They managed a few ragged volleys before they turned and ran.
There you go. The Prussians are winning. Good.
Russian cavalry followed in pursuit. Marshal Davout, with just one intact division left, prepared to make a stand on the Kriegerberge. The brave, he shouted, will find a glorious death here.
Jesus. I'm not so much in the glorification of war like that, and dude, these leaders always have it easy. For the Emperor! For glory! Go forward, you little fuckers! Come on, go! You shoot them! This is for your country, man! I'm drinking wine later in my tent. What are you gonna do? Fuck you. Keep going, man. It's always been easy. Okay, René? Okay, okay.
Fortunately for Davout, the enemy's attacks were poorly coordinated, and his 40-gun battery inflicted terrible losses. Around 5:30, as dusk fell, Ney's corps arrived in
Who the
pursuit
fuck is
of the
now
Prussians
arriving? This fucking
and
guy?
took Schleudeten.
Oh my god.
This new threat forced Bennigsen
Flank
to call
and
off
flank
his
and
attack
flank
on
and
Davout.
flank and flank.
And as darkness descended, the day's slaughter finally came to an end.
What did they even do with all the death? Like, you have like 10,000 corpses on the ground. There wasn't like anyone responsible for taking care of them, right? No matter where one looked, one saw nothing but corpses and beheld men dragging themselves over the ground. One heard nothing but heart-rending cries. Went away horror-struck. Back then, the warfare was probably very, you die slowly. If the bullet gets you like here, you're like dying slowly. Locals dealt with that shit.
Since Napoleon had crowned himself emperor in 1804, every campaign, every battle he'd waged, had ended in brilliant success. No longer. Bennigsen, learning the true scale of his army's losses and its critical shortage of ammunition, withdrew overnight. The French were left holding a frozen, corpse-strewn battlefield, allowing Napoleon to claim a victory. But in reality, Eylau had been a murderous slaughter, without a winner.
And for what? For
As
what,
Marshal
right?
Ney exclaimed on seeing the battlefield,
It's so cool we have real writings from them. That's sick.
"What a massacre, and without result." Exact
All these men could have gone home, made children, paid taxes, right? But then we will have more overpopulation, so maybe it's...
casualty figures are unknown, due to the chaos and conditions of the battle and the scale of loss. But it is likely that the Russians lost 20,000 men, killed, wounded or captured.
What a boring average life.
The French, perhaps as many as 25,000. What is clear is that thousands of French veterans, the victors of Ulm, Austerlitz and Jena, met their end on the snowy fields of East Prussia. Napoleon's
It wasn't for nothing, it made a great YouTube video.
Grande Armée would go on to achieve many more great victories,
Fuck, I want to keep
including
watching.
a crushing victory
But I also
over
wanna play EU.
Bennigsen's Russians at Friedland 4 months later.
4 months later they fight again.
But after
Get a
the
hobby,
brutal
people.
losses of
It's when they
Eylau,
have no phones.
it was never the same.
You did it for content? I kinda want to keep watching, man. One more? One more? Just one. One more?
Epic History TV
One more.
History March collaboration.
I want to go to Battle of
Supported by
Leipzig.
our sponsor,
Völkerschlacht.
Skillshare, home of more than 22,000 online classes. Find out about our exclusive special offer at the end of the video.
I would rather die for Napoleon than die for corporations in Israel. Well, but you're not fucking dying right now, are you?
1 week
so
before
many videos,
Christmas,
man.
1806, French Emperor Napoleon Bonaparte arrived in the Polish city of Warsaw, then part of Prussia.
Warsaw was part of Prussia.
A year
It's always weird when I talk to old people in my neighborhood, my grandparents, their parents, people in the retirement home. All their history and family comes from here. They all had to run from the Red Army. That's pretty much always the same story where I'm from. Like the third generation before me, they all kind of lived here and they all had to run.
had passed since his great victory over the Austrians and Russians at Austerlitz, and 2 months since he'd hammered the Prussians at Jena. But
Yeah,
Russia
when I
still
showed
had
my genetics, it's all this shit, man. All my genetics are like here.
powerful forces in the field. The
I
most
haven't done my
important
genetics in a while. What was this? Ancestry.com. Ancestry. Haven't I shown this the other day? I don't remember. They ran from communists to end up in communist Germany. We kind of deserved it though, man. We tried to fucking murder all of them. That's kind of what happens. Aren't you Jewish, Tommy?
of which was the Russian First Army, commanded by General
No wonder the
Bennigsen.
Eastern German is Eastern German. And 3%
would
Bacon,
not
one
be
man.
master of Europe until it was defeated, and Russia and Prussia forced to make peace.
The good thing is if the AFD ever takes over and they're like, only I think I'm fine genetically. I probably have more German genes than some of these Nazis, bro.
But that winter, Napoleon's first attempt to trap Bennigsen near Pultusk
It's not boring. You should appreciate your heritage. Jawohl, mein Führer, mach ich!
got bogged down in thick Polish mud.
But you're ginger. Come on, I'm not reading chat for a sec.
The French army, half-starved and frozen, was ordered into winter quarters. While in Warsaw, Napoleon began a famous affair with a young Polish noblewoman, Marie Walewska. In the late 18th century, the once mighty Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth had been swallowed up by its neighbours, Russia, Austria and Prussia, in a series of annexations known as partitions. Until in 1795, a third and final partition wiped Poland off the map.
Jesus, man. Probably not very nice for the Poles.
Now, Polish patriots
She was 17?
looked to Napoleon as their saviour, praying that his victories against their occupiers would lead to the rebirth of a Polish state.
She probably sucked his dick and was, can you bring back Poland? Fuck yeah, I will do it, don't worry about
Marie
it!
Walewska became Napoleon's mistress in order to further this cause.
There you go, man, there you go. A 17-year-old girl is the reason you exist, Polish people,
Ordinary
okay?
French soldiers,
Show some respect.
however, had little love for Poland. It was impoverished, freezing, and they missed home. Desertion rates soared. There were even 100 cases of suicide. Marshal Ney, commanding 6th Corps,
He was 21.
sent
Oh, someone lied in
patrols
chat?
towards Heilsberg, looking for better quarters. What they found were Russian and Prussian soldiers on the move. They'd stumbled into a surprise winter attack by Bennigsen. Napoleon quickly laid a trap for the Russian army, ordering Ney and Bernadotte to retreat and lure Bennigsen west, while he led the rest of the army north to fall on his flank and rear. But the Russians captured a French courier carrying the Emperor's orders to Marshal Bernadotte. Bennigsen, now warned of the trap, ordered a retreat, fighting a series of rearguard
The Polish anthem is literally a soldier song from the Polish Legion of Napoleon's army.
skirmishes against the pursuing French. But he refused to give up the city of Königsberg without a fight.
Poles never had it easy, huh? They always got
Turned
fucked
to
over,
give
man.
battle
Makes sense they're now getting
at
very
Eylau.
militarized to stand against bitch-ass Putin.
The Battle of Eylau, fought over 2 days, was one of the most brutal of the Napoleonic Wars. Fought in freezing
Damn,
conditions,
look at that, bro.
with neither side
That looks
backing
crazy.
down. Marshal Augereau's 7th Corps, advancing into the face of a snowstorm, lost its way and was cut to pieces by Russian cannon fire. 5 French Eagles were lost. Napoleon's army was only saved by a devastating massed cavalry charge by 10,000 horsemen, led by the fearless Marshal Murat, and remembered as one of the great cavalry charges in history. At Eylau, for the first time as emperor, Napoleon failed to win a clear victory on the battlefield. He and the Russians covered...
Sometimes my brain sends really weird signals to my brain. And I just had this idea, which probably is not that good. Like a series on Twitch and YouTube where a Paradox streamer like me does a challenge where he plays a nation in every single game. And I was just thinking Poland is perfect for that. CK Free Poland, EU4 Poland, Victoria Poland, the HOI4 Poland. Kind of cool. But it has to be like a hard nation, like Poland. I just felt like Poland would be great for that, because Poland is so fucked all the time.
up the true scale of their losses.
Stellaris Poland?
But both sides are estimated to have lost a third of their armies in the carnage.
Poland is insane at U4.
Eylau, both armies sought
There's no
time
Poland
to
in
rest
Wiki
and
Free.
recover. Meanwhile, the newly formed French 10th Corps under
Polish
Marshal
mega campaign.
Lefebvre besieged Danzig, held by 13,000 Prussians under General Kalkruth. The city came under heavy French bombardment and infantry assault.
Dude, they must infinitely produce cannonballs in France and then bring them over there. They must be shooting thousands
After
of
8
cannonballs.
weeks, with no prospect of reinforcement, the Russian garrison surrendered on the 27th of May. Napoleon's northern sea
Here's Poland at its biggest extension. That is the Polish Lithuanian Commonwealth for some shit, huh?
flank was now secure against any possible Russian landing.
Here you can see the eagle in a Moscow State Museum. Oh, they like took that from the battle?
The French Emperor
reused
now
these
commanded
cannonballs.
an army
Oh.
190,000 strong, against just 115,000 Russian and Prussian troops.
Just 115,000.
But it was Bennigsen who moved first, launching a surprise attack against Ney's 6th Corps on the 5th of June.
Dude, if I was Prussia and Russia here, I will, because I'm obviously much better general than these people, I will invent, first time in history, special forces, like SAS, you know? Special forces. And I will send a bunch of dudes behind enemy lines and really try to fuck with supply lines. I will try to create fear in the supply lines, that they're scared of these bandit attacks and stuff. I would like really go, I will send some people here, man. I will go to villagers, right? Prussian villagers. Oh, here's some money and guns. Go kill a bunch of supply if you see it. And tell us information where they are. I would really do a lot of damage behind, man.
Ney conducted a brilliant fighting withdrawal and escaped. Bennigsen, having lost the element of surprise, and with Napoleon advancing, retreated
I will
once
also
more.
meant Cass, yes.
4 days later,
You can barely
at
do a phone call,
Heilsberg,
Tommy?
The French lost 10,000 men in a botched assault against Russian defenses.
What I really feel about these videos in the beginning was like, whoa, so cool. And now I'm just like, oh, more death. More destruction, more death. Oh my god. Like my whole mood is changing about
their
Napoleon.
Retreat the next day. Napoleon thought Bennigsen would head north to Königsberg, but instead he retreated northeast, keeping to the east bank of the Eylau River. So when Napoleon's army marched north, it was Marshal Lannes' Reserve Corps on his right flank that next encountered the Russian army, near the small town of Friedland.
Now they fucking kill each other again. Jesus Christ, man.
In the late afternoon of the 13th of June, Russian cavalry scouts informed General Bennigsen that they'd found a single French corps at Friedland.
This battle is insane.
Bennigsen decided he had time to cross the Eylau River and smash this isolated corps before the rest of the French army could arrive to save it. And he ordered his army to begin crossing the river. Marshal
There will be
Lannes,
another cavalry charge.
commanding 16,000 men and facing 46,000 Russians, sent an urgent message to Napoleon that he was under attack from the main Russian army. Then he fought a skillful delaying action, hiding the weakness of his force behind a large screen of skirmishers, while gradually yielding ground to the enemy.
To understand, skirmishing means I'm coming at you, I can shoot longer than you, I shoot at you, and then I run away again. And then I shoot again, and I run away, and I shoot again. What I don't understand is, why would you not 100% use skirmishers? If I'm Napoleon, and I'm coming at you, what if I only skirmish? Isn't that clever? Shoot, 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 run away a bit. Probably because you lose a good position, I guess.
Lannes was still holding off the Russians
Kiting.
as darkness
Kiting.
fell.
It's also very tiring.
That night, Russian
Also, cavalry
engineers
will
built
murder you.
3 pontoon bridges at Friedland to speed the movement of troops over the river.
Being a skirmisher must be adrenaline.
But Bennigsen
On a whole
was
nother
taking
level.
a huge risk. If this turned into a major battle, his army would have to fight with its back to the river and the steep banks of the Mill Stream dividing its left wing from its right. Bennigsen had also badly underestimated the speed at which Napoleon's Grande Armée would react.
Not a good
First
position.
French
Yeah, this does not look good.
reinforcements arrived that night.
You should have ordered go right off the
Emperor
river.
himself wasn't far behind.
Even he said this is a huge mistake.
By dawn on the 14th of June, about 40,000 Russians had crossed to the west bank of the Eylau River. Bennigsen ordered an attack on the village of Heinrichsdorf to turn the French left flank. But French cavalry reinforcements, led by General Grouchy, intercepted the Russians. In more than an hour of charge and countercharge, the French horsemen finally drove the Russians back.
I wouldn't want to be in a cavalry. Cavalry just feels so random.
Marshal Mortier's 8th
It feels so
Corps now
random.
arrived to reinforce
If it
the
works or
French
not.
centre. In Sortlac Wood, General Oudinot's elite grenadier division fought stubbornly against Prince Bagration's left wing, but was outnumbered by the Russians and gradually pushed back. Around noon on a sweltering day, Napoleon himself arrived. He was soon followed by 1st Corps, commanded by General Victor, standing in for the wounded Marshal Bernadotte, as well as Ney's 6th Corps.
Okay, that looks fucking terrible. In these videos, normally Napoleon looks like he's getting wrecked. That looks very bad for Team Green, man.
And the
I will
Imperial
not bet
Guard
on them on typical.
under Marshal Bessières. The date, the 14th of June, held special significance for Napoleon. It was the 7th anniversary of his great victory over the Austrians at Marengo. A good omen, he declared, as Napoleon assessed the situation, saw Bennigsen's dangerous position, and issued orders for an attack to take advantage of it. Bennigsen, meanwhile, who was tormented by ill
played for
health
City.
throughout the day, saw that he now faced the full might of Napoleon's army, and issued orders for a retreat.
Now you retreat, you moron! This is the objective. Advance, looking neither right nor left, born to this thick mass, cost what it may.
But before Bennigsen's
Fast poop. You know these poops where you lose a lot of baggage in a couple of seconds? Where you poop out a lot of mass very quickly? You know what I mean?
retreat could
just
get
had that.
underway, at 5:30 p.m., 3 salvos from the French guns signaled the start of Napoleon's attack. It was led by Ney's 6th Corps on the right wing, who first cleared Bagration's infantry
Oh,
from
green team,
Sortlac
this looks
Wood.
bad, buddy.
But as Ney's troops left the cover of the trees, they came under heavy fire from Russian cannon across the river. As the French attack faltered, Prince Bagration rallied his men and launched a cavalry counterattack. Ney's corps retreated. But now General Victor's 1st Corps came up on his left. Its artillery commander, General Senarmont, advanced with 30
Thank you
guns
so much, bro.
and blasted the Russians at point-blank
Thank you.
range with case shot. Hundreds of Russians were mown down within minutes. Under this onslaught, Bagration's men began to waver and then retreat. Around 7 p.m., the Russian Imperial Guard launched a desperate counterattack.
And if you think about it, right, if you look at Napoleon and his men, you really spent a life on the battlefield. You don't do much else in your life for a lot of years.
Halt the French advance on Friedland. But they were outnumbered and outgunned. As exploding shells began to start fires in Friedland, the French centre and left wing joined the attack. With its only escape route under threat, the entire Russian army began a panicked retreat towards the river.
Super massive mistake by
Friedland's
Bennigsen.
houses and
Super
bridges were
fucking
now
terrible.
ablaze. The town
This is a moment where, with all the respect, most of us would have been a better general. Let's maybe not go over the river.
became a deadly trap for the Russians. Many were drowned trying to cross the river, others killed or captured. North of Friedland, some units were able to escape across a ford
I'd win this.
or along the riverbank,
IRL band of
but there
hawks.
was no disguising the Russians' terrible defeat. The Battle of Friedland was one of the most decisive victories of Napoleon's
That was like gifted.
career.
That was a fucking gifted win.
At the cost of 10,000 casualties,
You shit your pants in
he
this
had
battlefield.
inflicted twice as many.
I believe from the bottom of my heart, I will do a better job as a soldier in Napoleon's army than you would. I believe that so deeply. So deeply.
Any losses on the
1000%.
Russians. About 20,000 men
1000%.
killed, wounded,
Benz, you be careful. You be careful, Benz. The way you look, you will be a fucking cannonball, okay?
or taken prisoner.
Roasted. No
40%
fucking
of
survivors,
Bennigsen's
man.
army.
Ayy. Don't fuck with me. Don't fuck
The
with me.
Prussians abandoned Königsberg the next day, which was occupied by Soult's 4th Corps, while Bennigsen's shattered army
And now he goes to
retreated
Moscow or
across
some
the
shit,
river
right?
Niemen
Which wasn't very clever.
into Russia. Tsar Alexander's advisors implored him to make peace with Napoleon. He accepted their advice, and a ceasefire was agreed.
That's 5 years later? Why is he still... Barrosar's happiest at Tilsit. I found myself victorious, dictating laws, having emperors and kings pay me court. Ah, that inflates ego. Whoa!
Alexander and Napoleon met for the first time
Whoa.
aboard a raft in the middle of the river Niemen,
Whoa!
near Tilsit, and developed an immediate rapport.
What?
Tilsit proved to be one of history's great diplomatic summits, as the two emperors feted each other for days, with banquets, parades and concerts.
Apparently
Then
a bunch
discussed
of
affairs
clapping.
late into the night. A friendship of sorts developed, while Russia's former ally, King Frederick William of Prussia, was left out in the cold. And it was Prussia who would lose most in the treaties of Tilsit, signed 2 weeks later. 1/3 of Prussian territory was taken away to create the new Kingdom of Westphalia, to be ruled by Napoleon's 22-year-old brother Jerome, and the Duchy of Warsaw, to be ruled by the King of Saxony, which Polish patriots hoped would prove a stepping
August der
stone
Starke?
on the road to their own state.
Is it August the Strong?
Polish troops were recruited into the Grande Armée, with Polish lancers even forming part of Napoleon's elite Imperial Guard.
No, August Strong died a long
Russia
time ago.
only
Okay.
had to give up the Ionian Islands, as Alexander accepted an alliance with Napoleon that left the French Emperor master of Europe.
Yeah, he pretty
Alexander even agreed to join the continental system, Napoleon's economic blockade of Great Britain, which banned British ships and goods from
Very
all
clever to ally Russia.
ports. The system had been established the previous winter by Napoleon's Berlin Decree. Napoleon hoped that by
It's almost
cutting
feels
off
like
British trade
Napoleon's
with Europe,
peak.
he'd cause financial
Almost.
chaos and political upheaval in Britain, allowing him to make a favourable peace. There was just one problem. The continental system didn't work. Not only was it impossible to enforce and undermined by widespread smuggling, the system damaged French trade just as much as British trade. The decisive weapon in this economic war would prove to be the British Royal Navy, which that summer ensured its continued naval dominance by launching a preemptive strike against the neutral Danish fleet at Copenhagen,
Oh shit.
capturing their warships before they could fall into Napoleon's hands.
Shiver me timbers.
Royal Navy squadrons blockaded all major French ports, seizing any ships trading with France, while ensuring British merchants could continue to trade overseas
At this point, maybe negotiate with Britain
relative safety.
and just enjoy your empire,
The
man.
Navy even seized the tiny Danish island of Heligoland as a base for smuggling British goods into Europe. But most disastrously for Napoleon, the continental system would draw him into two conflicts that proved ruinous for his empire.
Portugal is just building colonies
The
in the
first
EU.
would be fought in the Iberian Peninsula, where Napoleon decided to force Britain's ally, Portugal, to join the continental system. In November 1807, French troops, supported by their Spanish ally, invaded the country.
It's like a roleplay game where Napoleon has nothing to do anymore, so he just goes for these miners
royal
now.
family fled to their colony of Brazil as the French occupied Lisbon without a fight. It looked as though Napoleon had won yet another easy victory. But the Peninsular War was just beginning.
This feels like a TV show. What can happen?